All right, so the Knicks sweep Cleveland in 4 games, their second straight sweep in the playoffs. After allowing the Knicks to come back from down 22 in the fourth quarter to win game 1, the Cavs got blown out in every game, outscored by a combined 77 points. So James Harden was asked how much better the Knicks are after the series, and this was his response.
You know, obviously they dominated us 4-0, but yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily answer that question. Just because genuinely I do feel like we are the better team.
All right, we are the better team is going to be the headline. On this one, I'm going to defer to my players. I'm going to defer to you guys who played, because it's easy for me to sit here and say, what the hell are you talking about? You just got swept and your team basically gave up in the fourth game and all of that. How can you then say you're the better team? But I think maybe there is something in the mentality of the athlete that you have to be able to convince yourself of that in order to get to be where James Harden is. So I will defer to you. What do you think of him saying afterwards, I feel like we're the better team?
He did say in his defense that they got dominated in 4 games prior to that.
Which is evidence that would suggest they aren't the better team, which is what I'm saying when I say that maybe you have to be, you have to be a little crazy, right? You have to delude yourself into thinking that you're the better team anyway.
Out of anyone on this network, I am probably the biggest James Harden apologist, because I am from Houston, Texas, where he became an MVP and was extremely dominant. But in my soul, there's no way you can say you're the better team or your team is a better team when you get swept in the manner in which you got swept. And it's unfortunate. And on top of it, to say it when you know that in this series, you left much to be desired, that's tough. They were not the better team. And it was proven handily. And so I have a tough time agreeing. Now, when we go into games, we tell ourselves that. But after games, we have to face the reality and hear the music. And the music was loud. The music was a symphony. And so I can't agree. I understand the mentality. But at the end of the day, ball don't lie. And it really bounced in New York's favor.
I just, when I hear James talk, I feel like I know what it is. And I don't think James Harden is worried about what anybody thinks about James Harden. And I don't think anything that James Harden can say is going to change somebody's interpretation of James Harden. If you think James Harden plays a style of losing basketball, then you're going to feel that way. You're going to feel that way. It's going to be confirmed after this series. There was a part of me as a former player, even Donovan Mitchell's comments as well, when he backed James Harden up, at some point, you got to be in the trenches in the foxhole together. The rest of the world doesn't have to believe you, but you got to fight for each other. And if James Harden is coming back next year, I'm not saying what he said is right, because it's not on paper when we listen to it. But in that locker room, if you're coming back to that team, you want your teammates to believe in you and what you have to do the following year. And Donovan Mitchell felt the same way when he backed up James Harden in his post presser too.
Windman, again, let's put the ribbon, if we will, on a Cavalier season. They did get to the conference final. They do wind up with a losing record in the playoffs, for whatever that's worth. They are, from what you've been telling me, Harden is coming back. That's signed, sealed, and delivered. So what does their future look like?
Yeah, they have 2 pathways they can go. One, they can sort of run this team back, maybe change Kenny Atkinson's coaching staff, go through a training camp, similar to what the Knicks did, basically say we believe in this team and keep it going. 2, they could make major changes. They already made a major Harden trade, trading away one of their young all-stars, Darius Garland. They could examine trading away one of their other young players, either Jared Allen or Evan Mobley, which would be a major move. And when I was walking out on the court last night, as the Cavs fans were all yielding their arena to the Knicks fans, every single Cavs fan that passed me said, are we getting LeBron? Are we getting LeBron? The Cavs could only pay him $3 million as they're currently constructed. They could make moves to try to attract him, to try to trade for him, but those would be complex. But LeBron James will be an unrestricted free agent in a month.
What do you think, Wendy? Alan, if you were to put LeBron James, and again, I'm just playing fantasy basketball at this point.
Yeah.
If we were to put LeBron James at the age of what he'll be next year, 43, on that team, are they a legitimate threat to win the East next year?
I don't think so, mainly because, again, that backcourt struggles to defend. And James Harden really has to just look in the mirror and why they lost the series, because he's supposed to be one of their better players. He might have been one of their worst.
Yeah, it was not pretty for most of this.
No one's ever done that. No team. It doesn't matter who. The 87 Lakers, go back to some of the greatest offensive teams you've ever seen. Doesn't happen, which is why the idea, and there you go right there, 89 Lakers, sorry.
Yeah.
The point about it being, the easy road. The Knicks are making it look like an easy road.
Yeah.
You can, like Wendy said, you can beat teams by 5 or 6 and say, yeah, they had easy opponents. But when you're blowing them out, no one blows out teams like this in the playoffs. Close out games on the road. In the Jalen Brunson era, they have 8 opportunities to close out a series on the road. They've won 6 of them now.
Yeah.
And they've won them this year by 50, by 30, and by 37 points.
But you're getting large and loud results from small tweaks, which is why you have to truly applaud the small decisions that have gone a long way. Some of them being, I think the poster child for this is Karl Anthony Towns. Everyone has talked about him being a 3 and drive guy, meaning I'm going to knock down my 3. If you take that away, I'm going to drive and dunk it. Instead, in the middle of the playoffs, they have had a revitalization, a renaissance with his skill set. Through the passing, he's averaging a highest assist, I think 6 assists in the postseason, being a facilitator, something that people thought was not possible at this time and at this level. A small tweak that went a very long way. And I'm not gonna lie, this is a city of Broadway. He likes the theatrics with it.
Little bit.
He's like, I can pass now. I got triple doubles. Let me palm this ball. Let me throw it like this. Let me show you what I got. But it's not just him. I remember, was it in March or was it in April where Mikal Bridges had a 7-game streak where he didn't score. He probably had 0 points.
It was in April.
It was in April. He didn't score. Now he's knocking down the requisite open shots. OG Anunoby has been the best player on the floor for certain games when they try to take away Jalen Brunson. Landry Shamet is shooting great from 3.
He missed one three.
One three. He had the largest applause
Yeah.
in Cleveland after the win because of his small contributions that people valued.
In the
that to me was
month
huge.
of April, the Mikal Bridges trade was a bust. The coach was getting fired, and Karl Anthony Towns was getting traded for Giannis. In the month of May, the Knicks were unbeaten. They didn't lose a game they will not lose a game because they won't play now until June 3rd. So they did not lose a game in the month of May, and they made people quit. I want to show you this. This was Charles Barkley after the game, after the Cavs folded up their tent. This was Chuck summoning his inner Noah Webster. Let's see it.
Kids at home, if you want to see what the word quit means,
Oh, come on, Chuck.
to give up, the verb of that is cavaliers.
Oh, come on.
Players ain't going to say they're going to quit, but you know what shows? Their actions.
So that was at halftime. I forgive myself there. That was at halftime that Charles Barkley.
It's a 19-point game at halftime.
Yeah, look, I mean, but the point is, I don't even blame. Look, you're supposed to fight to the end, and I get it, and you do, and whatever. But at some point, Wendy, was it you who once said to me, at some point in a playoff series, someone said this to me, and I've always remembered it. At some point in a playoff series, both teams know which is the better team. And that moment probably arrived in game 2 of this series. Certainly by halftime of game 4, it was patently obvious, not only to those of us watching, but to everybody playing.
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about the game, but I will say this. The Knicks had 26 fast break points in the first half. Okay? There are teams that will go through the whole season, and that will be their high. They'll play 82 games, and they'll have that one magical night where they ran and they got 26 points for the game. They had it in the half. The Knicks were routinely scoring in fast break after the Cavs made baskets because they smelled blood in the water, and they're like, well, we're just going to outrun you. And yes, there was some fatigue factor from the Cavs, but that did not explain this. The Knicks just absolutely brought them to their knees, and that is what happened. Before the end of the first half, the Cavs stopped running. And there's no other way to say that you've given up than when you stopped running.
All right, so where do the Cavs go from here? That's one of the questions that we will answer. Do they bring back James Harden? Do they run it behind Donovan Mitchell? Do they try and make some sort of a big trade and shake things up? We'll answer those, but I want to show you